Sure. My name's Kristina Delgado. I'm a program manager with the Open Society Foundation's global programs. And I lead a portfolio of work that we call connected protection, which is how you connect local and regional protection mechanisms for human rights defenders, journalists, and activists to countries of first displacement all the way to resettling states. And it's a new body of work for the Open Society Foundations that's looking at transnational repression and persecution as a very normal phenomenon that we just don't have mechanisms or infrastructure of preparedness to do. A lot of the opportunity in the space comes from the really tragic crises of the past year from Myanmar, Afghanistan, and Ukraine that also created a lot of strife internationally, but also created a lot of opportunity in terms of mechanisms that can offer protection in durable democracies like Canada and other countries, which aren't usually the most accessible and have definitely not been emergency tools. And the scope of work is then the question turns to how do you support activism in exile? How do you consolidate movements and experiences? And spending time with this group and activists in exile really models how interconnected all marginalized movements for justice are, how they're all vectored at the same centers of power, whether it's you know, democratizing power, capitalism, financial resources, and different toolkits. Um, all of their stories are connected, and you have people from many different regions of the world that are very underrepresented and have more access to vertical power, to policymakers, to funders, but aren't a harnessed and targeted resource, both by the policy community, by civil society in the global north, and in sort of hubs of power. So it seems like an incredible opportunity to really harness expertise, but also mobilization tools and organizing tools across many movements in the decline of democracy globally and the decline of rights globally. So it's an honor to share space and ideas, and I look forward to seeing sort of where the seed grows. This work sits at the intersection of, as I mentioned, like migration, refugee protection, and human rights protection and defense, which are all sectors that are quite path dependent and don't talk to each other. And then you're seeing it all coalesce here. But I think what stood out for me the most is having the experience of being newcomers in Canada and not being able to have livelihoods that supported their work and being supported in the traumatic duality and experience of dislocation from not just family but also purpose. Almost everyone in the room is an entrepreneur. Almost everyone in the room has set up their own mechanisms and organizations for change in incredibly innovative ways, in ways that in places where there's no access for global actors and governments. And that's incredibly striking, that energy and creativity that's risen out of need. But then the sort of my mind turns to what would this look like if you actually enabled that type of entrepreneurship, if you enabled that type of policy innovation and work, and enabled people's livelihoods to live good, supported lives in community and in spaces that sort of can hold and heal everything that folks are carrying.
That's wonderful. Thanks so much.
Yeah.